Good evening. I'd like to call this school board meeting to order, please, and thank all for being here to this afternoon, whatever. Before we get started, I'd like to announce the death of two of our Kansas City, Kansas public students this past week, and after Levi Banks drowned in Texas, and he was a seven-year-old student at Eugene Ware. And then we had Jazare Ortega died in an apartment fire this past week, and she was a student at the Kansas City, Kansas Early Education Center. So can we stand and have a moment of silence, please? Amen. Thank you. Can we now do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I now ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Maxine Drew. Present. Jamie Humphries. Present. Brenda Jones.
Present.
Wanda Brown McPage. Present. Valdenia Wynn. Here. Stacy Yeager.
Thank you. Ask for approval of the regular agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those disapproving, hearing none, so ordered. Thank you. Communications, Dr. Ford.
Well, thank you. I feel really fortunate that this is my 6th day in Kansas City Public Schools, and what's a little funny about that, sometimes I feel like I've been here a little bit longer, and then I have to remind myself, well, maybe I better ask some more questions, slow down a little bit. And since it's my 6th day, what I thought I would do is share 6 great things that I've seen in Kansas City Public Schools since starting. I met individually with all these board members this past week, and I found them to have truly passion for this district. Many of them came up within the district, or their children attended the district, or their community member, and they really have a vision, and they also are very excited about things that are happening in Kansas City, Kansas public schools, and they're wanting our students and our staff to be successful. Yesterday, the second one would be that I met with the Meet and Confer Committee that is part of where you meet with your classified staff. And what a wonderful bunch of people serve on that committee. And they've been spending time collaborating on an evaluation tool that is truly exceptional. And it's just about ready to roll out, and Shelley Beach has done a nice job facilitating that group. And I have to say this, you know, I've been in a lot of school districts, and I have to give a hats off to Susan Westfall. She's probably one of the best board clerks I have ever run into. First of all, she's quiet and works hard, but boy, she knows the history of things that have gone on in this district, and she's always busy, busy, busy. And couldn't do this without her. And I even, when I was on the phone with Dr. Faust today, I said, he is one lucky man to get to work with her. Today, Human Resources was extremely busy, as they are every day, but I walked through the lobby several times, and they had a good turnout for the job fair. And it was really fun to see the people coming and going, filling out applications and interviewing with jobs. And it's just a, you know, every part of the school district has a kind of a busy time. And boy, this is Human Resources' busy time. And they're holding up well, but we need to think of them. They're working hard. The fifth thing that I really wanted to talk about is I had a conversation with Jason about the new administrators that are coming back, and it's not very long, and they'll be here. One of the things that's really exciting, they'll spend a large portion of their back-to-school training on social and emotional training, and that's really exciting that the district is so focused on looking at how to help our kids in so many ways. And finally, the sixth thing for the 6th day that I've been here, I visited with a parent in a restaurant today at noon. And I always think that's kind of fun. You know, I didn't have my name tag on, and then I thought I was going to die outside looking for it to get in the building because I couldn't find it. So I asked her where her kids went to school, and her response go, our children would never go anyplace else but Kansas City Public Schools. And what was interesting, she didn't know who I was. I mean, honestly, it was just kind of, I always talk to people. So I thought that was a really nice compliment that just a parent on the street was so proud of their school district. I want to remind you that I am the interim, and I kind of keep reminding people that I see it as a caretaker. And I've been a caretaker in my life to a lot of things, to animals, to my children, to my grandchildren, to my mother, to my father, to my grandparents. So caretaker, you have those nurturing qualities where you really want to nurture and help things out. And that's really what I hope that I'm doing. I'm hoping I'm nurturing not only the staff, but the students and making them see the great things that are happening here. A colleague of mine asked me how this job went, and I said it was going pretty good, and I was telling her what an interim was and how it was going, and she said, well, Julie, do you remember when you were at KSDE and a district hired an interim? And the interim went in June and hired a lot of new staff, created a lot of new programs, started some things, and then when the new superintendent came, he actually came on July 1, he kind of had to undo all those things that the interim started. So I'm trying to hold myself back, because sometimes I just want to get in and I have all these ideas and some of them aren't very good and I want to try them. But I want to remind you as a caretaker, I don't want to overload or go a direction or stay on course is really what we need to focus on until Dr. Faust gets here. And like I say, he is lucky to be able to join this team. This leadership team is wonderful, and I'm looking forward for the transition to happen.
Thank you. Since I just got back in the country, I don't have anything I have to say. Is any other board members that need to make comments about it?
I do.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to say that I had the opportunity to attend the Kaufman Center of Performing Arts for the Kansas City Alvin Ailey Camp final performance on this past Saturday, July 7th at 6 o'clock. And there were students who were represented from the Kansas City, Kansas School District, Topeka, and so I want to say, and Kansas City, Missouri, and it was just marvelous to see how professional our young people were dancing to such a history of dance through the Ailey Foundation. And so they also presented Kansas City, Kansas School District with a special award as a partner for the Ailey dance camp. And so it was very, very awesome. And not only was I there, but Jody Lynn was also there in attendance.
Thank you.
Excellent. Good job.
Any other board member? Anything? Okay. Next, we go to communication. Reminded we have 3 minutes, and we have Felton Denham, extended contracts for the teachers.
To Board President Brenda Jones and Dr. Ford in your interim position, and the rest of the board members, good evening.
Good evening.
Or good afternoon, I should say. I'm before you this afternoon to first give you a little background information about my knowledge and work experience in USD 500. In my last presentation, I did not do that. I retired in 1996 from District 500 after 30-some years of teaching, coaching, and 1 year as principal at Carnell Middle School. And I must tell you that was the worst decision I ever made, but the best one is that I lasted only 1 year. And there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about that later. I'm a high school graduate. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics and a minor in science. I received my master's degree from Emporia State University, my specialty degree, and my defended EDS degree from Emporia State University. And I felt I need to share that information with you because in my last presentation, I did not do that. And my granddaughter reminded me. She says, Grandpa, there's a lady talking about you behind you. And when I turned, I heard her say, he just walked off of the street, maybe. And I said to myself, I better respond to that. Then I thought, I did not introduce myself. I did not share with this board my experience with education in this school district. It was wonderful. I plan to work with this board and the new superintendent. But I want you to know I have about 5 different questions I need to ask you this afternoon. And what I'm going to ask you is either a yes or no answer. You don't have to answer today. But these are the things that have been on my mind and things that I've been hearing. Did any member of this board, have you had an opportunity to visit the school where the new superintendent is coming from? Any member? Well, the next question is, I think the approximate enrollment of the Carl B. Bruce Middle School is about 700 students. What is the approximate enrollment of the Gloria B. Willis projected enrollment of Gloria B. Willis School? The next question I have is, in writing contracts, I would like for this board and the next superintendent to consider extending contracts to teachers for more than 2 years to entice them to stay at least 5 years. I know it will cost money, and I know it's a tough call, but I do know that I will be asking you to make this consideration, because I do know experienced teachers, they do have a lot more to offer than a first-year teacher. Not that the first-year teacher isn't needed and very good, but as you know, as you grow older, and then you really get and gain experience, you do a better job at some of the things you love to do. And then finally, I would like for you to consider this board. And that is, you have been doing a great job. I wouldn't accept the job that you have as a tremendous challenge. But just remember this, after you get the superintendent here, try not to do too much. Step back and let the professional do the job that you've hired them to do. I appreciate your time, and I will be back to hear for responses later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn to sine die.
So move.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposing? Hearing none, so ordered. Thank you.
Okay, at this point, we are going to have the election of the board president. Do we have any nominations, or do we want to just vote?
You want to do
We just,
that by ballot?
okay. And if you'll fold it, and we'll let Susan pick them up.
Ms. Drew, cast your vote for Dr. Nguyen. Mr. Brown, cast his vote for Dr. Nguyen. Ms. Page, cast your vote for Dr. Nguyen. Ms. Jones, cast your vote for Brenda Jones. Ms. Humphrey cast her vote for Ms. Jones. Dr. Nguyen cast her vote for Dr. Nguyen. And Dr. Yeager cast her vote for Dr. Nguyen. Congratulations, Dr. Nguyen.
Come on.
At this time, we'll do a little quick rearrangement.
We're still connected.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is the election of the board vice president. And at this point, we need some nominations.
I would like to nominate Maxine Drew.
You don't want to do ballots?
We have ballots.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, we'll do ballots.
Oh, sure.
Good job.
Is he coming to take me away already?
Drew cast her vote for Brenda Jones. Mr. Brown cast his vote for Ms. Page. Ms. Page cast her vote for Ms. Page. Dr. Nguyen cast her vote for Ms. Page. Mrs. Humphrey cast her vote for Maxine Drew. Ms. Jones cast her vote for Maxine Drew. And Dr. Yeager cast her vote for Maxine Drew. So three and one. We have to vote again. We have one vote for Ms. Jones, 3 for Ms. Page, and 3 for Ms. Drew, and we need 4.
Do either one of you prefer to be in that position? Or,
We have to vote on it.
oh, there's no conversation about it? Oh, okay.
You know, you're welcome to just going through the stuff and thinking of Joan. You're welcome to going through it.
Are you sure? We don't need to take over that.
No.
You say that.
I'm fine.
You need a pen?
I'm just looking because I got a flashlight on that pen.
Oh.
Dr. Yeager cast her vote for Maxine Drew. Ms. Jones cast her vote for Maxine Drew. Mrs. Humphrey cast her vote for Maxine Drew. Dr. Wynn cast her vote for Ms. Page. Ms. Page cast her vote for Ms. Page. Mr. Brown cast his vote for Ms. Page. And Ms. Drew cast her vote for Ms. Page. So congratulations, Ms. Page.
I'm going to keep running with this. So the next item is the appointment of the board positions. We have Susan Westfall for clerk, Bridget Desmet for deputy clerk, Raquel Ayala for deputy clerk, Greg Goheen for legal counsel, Kristen Woodbury for treasurer, and Brad Isnard for deputy treasurer. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Oh gosh, I got out of it. Why don't you keep I probably just kicked myself. Oh, maybe I'm okay, just a sec. Next on our agenda, we have to approve the resolution to establish school term of 1,116 hours for the 2018-2019 school year.
No, the one.
Oh, I skipped one, I'm sorry.
Right there, D.
Okay, D, approve the resolution on official meeting time and place. So what we currently have as our recommendation hold on just a second. We currently are recommending that okay, that we would meet the second meeting in December will be canceled. Let me back up a little bit. We would meet 5:00 p.m. and the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month, effective August 1st, 2018, with the following exceptions. The second meeting in December will be canceled. The first meeting in March will be canceled. The second meeting in March will be held on the third Tuesday. The first meeting in July will be canceled. The second meeting in July will be held on the third Tuesday. In the event that a regular meeting date shall fall on Election Day, a legal holiday, or any other school holiday established by the Board of Education, the regular meeting shall be held on the following day commencing at the same hour. All board meetings will be held at the boardroom of Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools Central Office and Training Center, 2010 North 59th Street, with the following exceptions. September 11th, 2018, JFK Kennedy Elementary School at 8:30 a.m., October 9th, Harmon High School at 8:30 a.m., November 13th at Central Middle School at 8:30 a.m., and February 12th at John Fisk Elementary School at 8:30 a.m. At this time, do I have a motion to approve?
Is it a question or discussion?
Is there discussion?
We had talked about possibly visiting our students in the juvenile facility. We talked a little about how we would go about doing that. Could you explain a little more how it's done in Topeka?
Sure. What they did at Topeka at one point, they did a field trip to the Juvenile Detention Center. They called it as a regular meeting, but because other people couldn't go in, they just posted the agenda. And it was kind of more like a field trip, but they announced it as a meeting so that people could question, you know, it was on. And I suppose other folks could go if they wanted to, but we just allowed the board members to go.
And the thought about that is because we do have a number of students in our juvenile justice system, and we have to let them know that we still care about them and that we're passionate about the education and treatment that they're getting. And I'm not sure if we've had a chance to visit that facility to see how our students are doing or talk to the educators who go to our students in prison. But I think it would be a good opportunity for the board to consider having a meeting there or doing a field trip to visit our juvenile justice center so that we can really pour into those students so that when we think about them coming in and out of the system, we want to keep them out of there. So if they know that we're advocating for them and that we have a passion for them, it may help open our eyes to some opportunities as well as be able to just have that experience.
I think we're looking at two different things based upon what you said. The fact is, we don't know what the laws are that will require us to be able to go into a building of that facility. So that's the first thing we need to check on. I think it's very important that if you want us to go, that we would go, but not as a board for the meeting, but just to go and see what the facility is and do some encouragement. So for us to have a board meeting there, I don't think that would be a good thing because we don't know what the law is. And prior
We really can't have the board meeting because it's a public meeting.
It would be part of, so you're saying do it separately?
Yes,
Just create an
most
agenda
definitely.
item where we could, a field trip to go there. So
Right.
in our schedule, we would need to incorporate that on this list, or would it
No,
be?
we'll do it at a later date.
Okay.
We can set
Great.
it as a special meeting.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to do something like that where all the board was going to be present, you'd still have to notice it up as a public meeting because the board would, under coma, but essentially be a special meeting and there wouldn't be any board business that would take place because if you're going to go into an area where the public can't be, then you can't transact public business. You'd have to come back out of the facility and convene your meeting and take any public action. So it'd basically be an agenda that the agenda would be touring the facility and that would be it.
Okay.
And probably you can provide us some information after you've had time to consult with the authorities.
Yeah, I mean, it should be relatively easy to get something like that set up if you want to do that. You'd have to schedule it out enough
Right.
time, and they'd have to make sure security arrangements were taken care of, but that should be able to happen.
Dr. Yeager, would you want that information at the next meeting?
Yes, that I would, because that would
Next
be
regularly
on our
scheduled meeting.
calendar.
Can you do that,
Sure
Mr.
that we
Goheen?
don't lose sight of that.
Yes, you want next,
Regular,
next regular.
yes. Thank you.
So is there a motion on the floor to approve?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand, please. Opposed? Just having trouble with
Now you're 1,100 minutes.
I know. So the next one is a resolution about the time and date of the statute with the consisting of a school term consisting more of 1,116 hours for the 2018-2019 school district. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next, we're moving down to,
Designate employees to non-compliance.
that approve certain employees that are on the list that are provided for compliance and compulsory attendance. And so on the list, we have Lisa Garcia Stewart, Director of Student Service, Octavia Estrella, Assistant Director of Alternative Services, Valerie Enzek, Coordinator of Student Services, Henry Horn, Chief of Kansas City Public Schools Police, Michael Webb, Deputy Chief of Kansas City Public Schools Police, and Sergeant Robert Graham of Headquarters. And then the school-based officers are listed there. I will not take the time to read them, they are posted there. And then we also have the principals and some assistant principals at each school that are posted. This time I'm looking for a motion of approval.
A motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Item G.
Okay. Still not, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thanks, and savings.
The next item on business is about approving the banks and savings for the school district. At this point, go back up. Oh, there is it. So, sorry. And there's a resolution there to approve Brotherhood Bank and Trust, Commerce Bank, Community First Bank, Liberty Bank, Security Bank of Kansas City, UMB Bank of Kansas City, and U.S. Bank. Is there a motion?
Could you clarify, is that Liberty Bank and Trust, the one on Fifth?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, getting a little dicey.
The next resolution, it deals with a resolution to waive the annual requirements of generally accepted accounting principles and fixed asset accounting. And at this point, this is something that's required by the board. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Second, or opposed, say, okay. Motion approved. Moving on is destroying documents, and the recommendation is approve the attached resolutions authorizing destroying of various documents, records, and papers. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
To approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next one is approve a resolution designated Melissa Bedford Fears as the Director of Communication as a Freedom of Information Officer for the district for the next year. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is a resolution about approving, designating Kristen Woodbury, Executive Director, as the agent for the Kansas Public Employees Retirement System, CAPERS, and Brad Isnard as Deputy Treasurer, Crystal Primers as Benefits Specialist, and Carmen Lee as Benefits Clerk. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have the annual designation of non-discrimination coordinator and disability compliance coordinator and publication of the notice of non-discrimination. And the recommendation is we designate Amy Jo Troyer as its non-discrimination coordinator and Dr. Michelle Coven as its disability compliance coordinator for the 2018-2019 school year. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Our next, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our next item is to approve the appointment of the district hearing officer for the 2018-2019 school year for the purpose of conducting hearings on extended suspicion and expulsions of students and review terminations. And this was, there is an attached list.
I think it should be on the second one. Isn't it?
Is it,
I don't think so.
and the hearing
Page 2.
officer is at
Page 2.
Bernice Cottrell.
Bernice Cottrell. There it is. Approve the appointment of Bernice Cottrell as a district hearing officer for 2018-2019 school year. Is there a motion to approve?
Question. She's my relative, so should I abstain from voting?
That's correct.
Okay.
You should probably list it.
Okay.
We don't have to have her leave or anything.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you for doing that. The next is to approve the resolution designating the Record News as its official district newspaper for the following year. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Next is a resolution, a recommendation to approve a resolution acknowledging and declaring the intent to exercise home rule authority. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have approve a resolution designating Josh Matthiasmeyer, Director of Nutritional Services, as an authorized representative of the food service program. Is there a recommendation to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Next, we have approve the appointment of Lenore Miller, Executive Director, as a hearing officer for the 2018-19 school year for the purpose of conducting hearings for free and reduced price meal application appeals. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have we're a good team. Next, we have a motion to approve the resolution designating Jessica Smith, McKenty-Vento Liaison, as its interim coordinator for homeless children for the duties for the 2018-19 school year. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have a recommendation to approve the attached resolution for disposal of surplus property. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I have a question. We get this report every month. Is it necessary for us to get this every month since we're approving the resolution to do it?
Right. Excuse me, Dr. Yeager, yes, now that we have a resolution, if the board so chooses to pass that, we won't have to give you the full report every single month. So this allows for us to not provide you that itemized detail like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. The next is a recommendation to approve the continued use of contracts identified in KSA 726760 for the purchase of materials, goods, and wares. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I move.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. And the next one is a recommendation to approve the resolution authorizing updated banking authority. And is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Next week, I'm gonna say, I ain't go to bank.
Okay, is there a motion to go out of sign die and return to public session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I can figure out where I'm at.
Library communications.
Okay, we're now ready for,
Okay.
you get to do that.
Good evening.
Good
We're ready for library communications, please.
Good evening, Dr. Nguyen,
Good morning. Good evening.
Board, Dr. Ford. It's just a few items that I wanted to share with you. Once a year, I attend the American Libraries Association conference. This year it was in New Orleans, and I was privileged to do that thanks to our vendor, Follett, who sponsored me. Just want to share with you the highlights. The American Libraries Association Annual Conference was June 21st through 26th. Our general session opened with Michelle Obama and Dr. Carla Hayden. The general session closing was Viola Davis. Wonderful conference. I never would have believed that I would hear Mrs. Obama speak, and of course, very eloquent, and it was really fantastic. She wrote a book called, and I have my notes here, sorry, Becoming, This one will be published in November, but she gave us a small insight of that. We know that her initiatives as First Lady has become a role model for women and girls and an advocate for healthy families, service members and their families, higher education, and international adolescent girls' education. The book chronicles the experience that have shaped her from her childhood through the south side of Chicago through her years as an executive, balancing the demands of motherhood and work. Dr. Hayden was the one that questioned her. I know Dr. Hayden for almost 15 years now. She's the librarian of Congress that President Obama was the one that President Obama appointed. Sorry, thank you, Dr. Winner, for that. Of course, Viola Davis, everybody knows Viola Davis. Well, not everybody, but I assume people know her. She's an award-winning actress, and she wrote a book called Corduroy Takes a Bow. This book will come out and will be released in the fall of 2018. She's the first African-American actress to win a Tony, Oscar, and an Emmy. Wonderful person. We tried to get her to come to Kansas City, but she cost $165,000. So I was unable to secure that.
No, that's right.
So I'm not sure what Mrs. Obama would cost. But nevertheless, we had a few auditorium speakers. Anybody knows Troy Trombone Shorty? He is a philanthropist and a Grammy-nominated multi-instrumentalist who led the band Trombone Shorty and Orleans Avenue before Mrs. Obama came to speak. So he's another person that wrote a book, and his book is called Trombone Shorty. That got the winner. That was the winner of the Coretta Scott King Book Award and the Caldecott Honor Award. Also a book that we will be purchasing for our schools in the fall. Sally Field was another speaker that was really inspiring, and she wrote a memoir called In Pieces, which will also be released the fall of 2018. And her book is really about her challenging and haunting a memoir and her time growing up in her family. Dr. Carla Hayden, as I said, she was sworn in as the 14th Librarian of Congress in 2016, first African American to lead the National Library Association, and also David S. Ferrero. He was confirmed as the 10th Archivist of the United States in 2009. Both of them were great speakers. Another person that I met is Ms. Doris Kearns Goodwin. I think most of you know her. Authored numerous books, and she came on board with President Lyndon Johnson when she was 24 years old and started his memoirs, and subsequently carried on with all the presidential memoirs. Her next book is coming out in the fall. They usually get the speakers whose books are coming out, new books coming out this year. So her book will be coming out in September, and it's called Leadership in Turbulent Times. And we will be sure to get that as well. Sessions, quite a few sessions that I've attended, but the main thing throughout that stuck with me is the whole person librarianship, social work concept for social justice library services. As you know, libraries are becoming that social entity, and we explored system theory, cultural humility, and reflective supervision as they apply to library practices. And that was presented by librarians and social work. Last but not least, Mr. Brown, we were introduced by Misty Copeland. She will be our new honorary chair for the National Library Week for the American Libraries Association. The theme this year for the libraries is Libraries Transform, Libraries Lead. Ms. Copeland was born in Kansas City, Missouri, and she's the author of The Ballerina Body, also Life in Motion, that earned the Coretta Scott King Illustrated Book Award-winning and a 2014 book called Firebird. We are hopeful that we'll get her to come and speak to our kids with the help of Mr. Brown. That's it, unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you. Now, I need a motion for the board to recess into executive session at 4:50
So move.
for how many minutes? All right, let's try.
Maybe a few more minutes.
So I need a motion for the board to recess into executive session at 4:50 for 15 minutes to discuss teacher negotiations pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting will resume at 5:05.
Second.
With no action to follow. Moved and seconded, we will go into executive session in 2 minutes. Thank you, sir. We'd like to come back to order, please.
Motion.
Right. I need a motion for the board to recess into executive session at 5:10 for 15 minutes to discuss teacher negotiations pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting will resume at 5:25 with no action to follow. I need the motion first.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
And do we want to include?
Oh, yeah. Dr. Mather? Need a motion, please, to come back into regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to come back in regular session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passed. Okay, we need a motion to approve the hearing officer's report and recommendations on employee number 1, termination review.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the hearing officer's report and recommendations on employee number 1, termination review. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passed. We need a motion to approve the hearing officer's report and recommendation on employee number 2.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the hearing officer's report and recommendations on employee number 2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passed. Please note the upcoming dates. Anything you'd like to add in particular, Ms. Dr. Ford?
Well, I would really encourage you if you could plan ahead to come to the new teacher in-service on August 1st at 8 o'clock. It's always so fun to see the new teachers come in. They're so excited to be part of the district. And I'm also excited about the community fair on the 4th of August is always a,
Location of August 1st.
it's at
Schlegel. Okay.
I will not be there, because we'll be at the,
Right.
Yeah.
out there at the
Edwards campus.
Edwards campus. We've already committed to impact
For August 1st or August 4th?
August 1st.
Okay.
Did we make a decision for, Greg has sent out a meeting request for July 21st. Did we confirm that in the time?
So not every board member was able to attend, so it won't be an appropriate time to do the meeting as anticipated. I was going to bring up and offer out as a suggestion, you might still, Dr. Faust will be up here on that weekend. I don't know if you want me to still try to arrange a get-together with him and his wife at that time or not.
I would think it would be appropriate to still arrange a get-together for that time, because I believe that would be appropriate time.
Yeah. I could certainly coordinate that for every board member who can attend.
the 21st.
It's just not the appropriate time to have that meeting under his
Right.
contract with him.
Right. So would we have to limit the number of people to avoid a board meeting, or would it?
No, we could just still notice it.
Okay.
It'd just be there would be no meeting.
Okay.
It's not a meeting in the sense there would be any business to conduct.
But a meet and greet type of event. Do we know a time frame, or should we recommend?
I'll reach out to him and coordinate on that piece.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments on the upcoming dates, Dr. Ford?
No.
Okay. The next item is the agenda timeline. Any comments on that? Stay tuned. Correct? Where's the thing before we adjourn? No, you kept it.
Did I keep it? Okay.
We would be remiss if we did not say thank you to Dr. Mathers and Ms. Clay for your longtime service. And of course, this won't be the last time, but we did want to acknowledge your retirement and now and probably every month that we see you.
Thank you. And we have 29 years of service 28 from Dr. Mather and 18 from Ms. Clay.
They're both retiring?
Technically.
Because one of them said resigning.
Not yet.
Because one said resigning when I read it.
Right. So let us give you a round of applause. And is there any other business before us? None?
I would like to also thank Brenda Jones for serving as president. I really appreciated her leadership while we've been here, so I want to appreciate and thank Brenda for being president.
Thank you. Like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion